Hello everyone. So for this video for the Witchy weekend, I'm going to talk a little bit about working with energies. And for the most part, it's about healing others and how to not deplete your own energy in the process. So I'll be discussing both internal energies and the control of external energies. When you work energies external to yourself, you are using your internal energies to shape and control it, much as you use your hands and fingers to mold clay. When manipulating energies external to yourself, you must be very cautious and be sure you are not damaging the environment or the free will of others. I will start with a little bit about healing someone or something besides yourself. If you are healing someone, make sure that you have their permission first. Otherwise, it goes against their free will. The first thing to do is to center yourself. Release all the negative energies that you have within yourself and open up the channels within so that all the energy flows freely throughout yourself. And by negative, I do not mean dark. Dark has good, light has bad. It's just the way things work. Negative energies are completely apart from dark or light. So, if the healing is only something small, such as removing pain from a cut finger and aiding the healing blood flow, you can do this with only your energy. If the job is much bigger, such as aiding someone in pain relief after a major injury or a surgery, then you will need to use energy external to yourself. Otherwise, you can deplete yourself to the point of being in as bad shape or nearly so as your patient is. When using external energies, gather your own energy first. Open a channel to the earth or trees or other plant life around you. Plants and flowers have a lot of beneficial energy for healing. I mean, it's kind of why we take flowers to the hospital when we go and see a patient there. So, gather these energies along your channel, shape it into a healing force, and then open a channel between this force and your patient. For this next part, strong visualization is required. You have to see this healing energy enter into your patient's body, see it flow around, and you can, once you're advanced enough and you've done this, you can actually physically see the energy that is going to the part of the body that is affected, and then you can see it be completely surrounded. Now, use your will to guide this energy into gently squeezing and compressing the pain or the sick energy until it collapses in upon itself and is no more. Now, guide the healing energy and control it, making it increase the blood flow to the area that which spreads or which speeds healing. At the same time, use it to block the channels which the nerves use to send pain impulses to the patient's brain. With practice, you will be able to set up a channel which will remain open for a certain amount of time, continuing the work even after you have had to leave. After doing such a major working, you will need to recharge yourself. Although it was the external energy that you used to heal with, it was your energy which shaped it and guided it. You may even have picked up a bit of the negative energies which you forced out of your patient. You need to find a place where you can be yourself for a bit. Center yourself and release any negative energies into the earth. Then do not pull energy, rather, let the energy flow gently along the channel you opened and let it gently fill you. This should be done as soon as possible so that you don't end up becoming down with a cold or a flu or something that your own immune system has to fight off. The energies external to us can be used in other ways also. Example: you are in a situation where two or more people are arguing, and it looks as though it might turn into physical violence. Do not try to manipulate the people. It is their right to argue, but you can change the energies in the air around them and transform it into a calming energy. If the situation is drastic enough, you can even change the energy around them enough to make them lethargic. By doing it this way, you are still letting them air their opinions and have their discussion or argument, but you have diffused the situation enough that it does not turn to violence. If you are able to visualize colors effectively, this can be done in the first case by turning the air around them to a calming blue-green. In the second case, by seeing the air around them as earth brown or gray. If you have children, this technique can be used at bedtime to help them settle down and get to sleep. Send them to their beds and then center yourself. See the air in their rooms turn it peaceful, restful, midnight blue color, the color of a clear moonless night. You might be surprised at how fast they fall asleep. This can also be used if you are walking and know that there is a dog ahead. The dog may worry you. Picture the dog as being surrounded by a calming blue-green color, and as you approach the area even closer, project peace and tranquility into the area ahead of you. This method can be used in any number of ways. You can influence entire audiences this way, but because you are only setting a mood, you still leave them free to do otherwise if they want to. You are not forcing them. It's kind of like the difference between saying, do this, or would you like to do this with me? People who do weather magic are using their internal energies to shape and guide the external energies. People who think strongly and long about something are again using their internal energies to manipulate the external. People can even use their internal energy this way and been doing it subconsciously. Wishing for something is only one way in which people do this. Okay, so now that we've talked about the two major forms of energy, active and passive, now there are two subforms inherent to or learned. Being complicated life forms, we as human have all four energy forms. We have the active inherent, which keeps our hearts beating and our thoughts thinking. We have the active learned, which is skills we learn as we grow, such as what is used with walking, typing, making faces, etc. We have the passive inherent, which is the energy stored within the fat and the muscle tissue to draw upon in times of stress and illness. And we also have the passive learned energy, such as that which is the energy held in reserve that is used by like runners, that they build up in their legs, hearts, and lungs for the pressure of the race. As humans, we also have one thing more, which is not actually an energy on its own, but a way of accessing nearly all stored energies, regardless of type, and using them in one colossal surge. This is what is seen when a car accident injures a child and the mother single handedly lifts the car off of her child. This is the energy that is seen when someone stays underwater longer than is normal possible to save someone else from drowning. This is what is seen when anyone pushes far beyond their normal limits to accomplish a great feat. This energy seems to stem from the mind and the mind alone. The mind is the greatest tool, weapon, and gift which we have as humans. Our minds are what differentiates us from the rest of the animal kingdom. Without our abilities to think, utilize, deduct, and mentally manipulate, we are no different than the rest of the animals. There are animals which have serviceable hands like apes, monkeys, and raccoons, and there are animals which are much better than we are as hunters. There are animals whose defensive tactics are much better than ours, and animals who are much stronger. What sets us aside as human is mind. Our minds have created better weapons than those with which we are naturally endowed. Our minds are what figured a way for humans to survive in extreme climates. Our minds are what came up with a way to shelter us from predators without having to climb trees or outrun them. Our minds are what devised ways to keep us fed throughout the long winter months when other animals must either hibernate or continue to hunt and forage. This wonderful tool, the mind, is what we use to direct all of the energies which we use. Some of the directions are conscious and some are automatic or unconscious, but they are all directed by the mind. Without life in the brain, no single part of our bodies are able to function as a living, viable being. Our minds direct our bodies in actions such as running, swimming, and jumping. Our minds direct the muscles of the heart to beat and the muscles of our lungs to contract and expand. Our minds direct the energy in many forms and several forms at one and the same time. Our minds can be trained to manipulate the energies outside our bodies as well as within. As an exercise, close your eyes and begin to think yourself sick at your stomach. If you have to picture yourself accidentally swallowing something really nasty and foul, queasy, you have just experienced the power of your mind. Now, think yourself well, picturing, if necessary, eating crackers or something that settles your stomach. Think of yourself as strong and brimming with energy. Feel better now? This is just a small sample of what your mind is capable of doing. With practice, your mind can manipulate energies that are without as well as those which reside within. As you learn the things that we're talking about here, you can do away with the picturing and just do it. The first thing we are going to deal with is using our internal energies to combat stress and that tired feeling. The example that I'm going to use here is tired feet. Here's the background. You've worked all day long, standing on your feet and walking on hard floors. Your feet are so tired, they're almost, if not actually, sore. Now, for the mind work, sit down in a comfortable position. Picture yourself standing ankle deep in a cool running stream, the sand soft and giving under your feet. Now sit down on the rock you picture behind yourself. It's exactly the right height for your feet to rest gently on the stream floor. As your mind, or in your mind, picture a painless hole in the heel and toes on each foot. Out these holes pour the tiredness and the aches into the stream bottom. Now mentally close off those holes and picture a channel opening up from the chest area all the way down to your feet. Once the channel is complete, see the energy begin trickling down to your feet and gradually increasing to a steady flow. If you want to add color, make the color a green for its healing properties. See the energy level in your feet begin building up, first puddling in the lower parts like the heels and the ball of your foot and the toe pads. See the level slowly rise until all the puddles meet, and keep watching as the level rises up until the toes are filled. Then the rest of your foot all the way to the ankle. At this point, your feet should be refreshed and ready to go again. The same technique can be used to refresh, energize, and yes, even heal yourself. Just pick the portion of yourself and begin work. By opening and seeing channels to other beings and things, you can also energize, help, and heal others. This energy you are using is your own internal energy. It comes from within yourself. A variant of this same seeing is used in candle spells and other magic. You see the channel opened between yourself and the object until you have filled it. Then you set a direction upon it and trigger to release it. In candle magic, the trigger is the flame burning and melting the wax down, releasing the stored energy as it goes. In this way, you can work a spell which may take more time than you have time to sit and send. You can spend days or even weeks charging candles, storing and programming the energy ahead for a task that you would otherwise have to sit and work on for a full day or more. For instance, you are going to be job hunting Monday. Spend the weekend charging a large pillar candle to help you get a job. Before you leave Monday morning, light the candle, put it in a very safe space, and especially even more safe if you have animals. And it will release energy to you and your purpose all day long. A crystal can be done in much the same way. Charge the crystal with your energy and purpose, perhaps a calming effect, and set the trigger as rubbing it. Wear the crystal on a necklace, and when the stress hits, rub it for a quick fix to calm you down. Hopefully that helps somebody. We deplete our internal energies all the time, and it's very important to re-energize. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I will answer them as soon as I can. Blessed be.